and today I kind of want to just talk about looping in Dead by Daylight and kind of the basics of it. So this is mostly for people who are new to Killer. Maybe you've played a lot of Survivor, which would definitely help, or you just brand out new to the game. So yeah, I've got a nice little graphic here, which we'll get to in a minute. But first off, for explaining how to loop effectively in like any loop, uh, my initial tip would be do not chase the survivor. If I use this graphic here, for example, we'll use an orange line for killer path. If you chase the survivor directly, you are just going to hit here, and this survivor, if I use a pink one for that, is already going to be around here, right? So you kind of, as a killer, need to think ahead of where that killer is heading and kind of get in front of them to kind of block them off and help secure that hit a lot easier. Uh, and I'll use this some more for some more examples, but this is like the main tip that I can give you. Right, so going more in detail to this idea of chasing the loop, not the survivor. So here we have a nice little green survivor, and over here we have the killer in blue. Don't choose why I chose those colors, I don't know either. And then here we've got a TR wall, LT, so it's called LT wall or TL wall, depending on which way you want to put it around. And then two volts here. Right, so if we... This is here's survivor. They're close enough where they're going to bolt this before you even get close. So, as I said earlier, approaching from this angle and going here is useless because they're going to be long gone and either go like this or go like this depending on what they feel like. So how do you play this out? Well, simple thing is, you go ahead of them. You already know they're going to reach here, so you either want to go like this or you want to go around like this. Which is pretty simple. It's just simple. It's just chase the loop. You know they're going to reach it, so you kind of want to go around to get to them. And then if you go even more advanced, like 2 steps ahead, right? So they've bolted this, assuming they're not going to like run off to a separate loop over here, and we're just focusing on the TL wall. They've got 2 options. If you go around this way, they're going to go around this way. And if you go around this way, from the bottom, they're going to go around this way. Now, which one is better for them? Take a second to think if you want, but the answer is this one, because it leads straight into another vault, which once again leaves you hard to play around. And then if you really play this badly, they can go down again and just loop this until one blocks off and then run off to a double loop or something like that, or play around this loop for even longer if you keep playing it in a similar way. So the better way for killer to play it would be to go around this way. That is not the killer color, but whatever, we'll stick with it. Alright, so you go around like this way, and then when they're forced to go around this way, and they got 2 options. Go back in, which leaves them into a kind of nasty situation, because if you decide to... If you go like this, see them coming back around. I don't know why they would take it this wide. Don't ask why I drew it like that. But yeah, you get what I'm saying. Right? You could either... If they take too long, you can go around, get hit. Or you can double back and get a hit as well. Because that's the only way they can fast fall. Another option that they could do is... hold on, I went back too far there. Shit. Don't mind me. Alright, so you come around like this. Let's change survivor to green because I'm not consistent. So they come around like here. If they don't go this way, they may go around either like this or like this. Either way, they're not getting a fast vault, which leads to quite consistent hits, or at least a good chance to hit them. And if they come around like here, you can just go like this. So you're chasing them here. They go this way. You come up to this wall. You make sure that they vault, and then you keep going, and it's basically a guaranteed hit. If they don't vault, you just go poof, and you get hit. So that's pretty simple. So this is like the kind of the idea of chasing a loop. You're not trying to stick behind the survivor. You're trying to be one step ahead and think about what they're doing. You know, like if they come around like here or whatever, you'd be like, okay, I'm gonna go here, or I'm gonna chase around, and they're gonna probably they might go like this. There's a lot of different ways loops can be played, and this is kind of more of a thinking style, I guess you could call it, to how to loop properly. And there's different situations as well. I'm just going to quickly get up another graphic, so give me 1 second. Right, so here we have just a long wall with a pallet here. Now, most killers can't deal with pallets too easily that well. There's some killers that don't care about them, like Nerfs, who will just teleport through them, and some that can destroy them easily, like a tier 2 Nemesis. But for sakes of purposes, we're talking like an M1 killer like Trapper, to kind of standardize what I'm talking about here. So here's a pallet, right? Obviously, survivors here. We don't really need them, but just we'll talk about them, put them down, makes it easier. So survivor might loop like this on the shorter side, or they might loop like this on the longer side, depending on how close you are, and then you've got to follow them. This sort of loop, there's not much to play around. You can kind of, if it's a high wall one, you might be able to do like backtracking, or like moonwalks or stuff like that, some advanced techniques to really do anything. But in general, these tend to be pretty short, especially on maps like Autohaven, I think has one. No, not Autohaven. I've forgotten which the maps is called. Magminian Estate, that's the one. Magminian Estate has one. And then also Coldwind Farm, 2 of them has one. I think one doesn't. Don't quote me on this. My map knowledge is not the best, as you could tell where I said the wrong one. But regardless, how you want to play this one is basically chase until they get up to the bum. If you get up to them here, you probably get hit in, but chances are you're going to get close enough where they don't feel safe enough doing another loop, and they're going to drop the pallet, and you destroy the pallet. That's it. That's all you want from this loop. We call this as basically a successful loop because you've gained something from it. You got rid of this really, really good pallet, sometimes referred to as a god pallet. You'll see a god pallet in Shack. We'll go over Shack in a second because that's kind of a unique one as well. But in situations like this where there is no really short side to get around the pallet and still get a hit, you just want to get the pallet drop, destroy it, and move on to a different loop as soon as possible. So honestly, don't respect these pallets. Like, okay, you can respect these pallets. Like some people would say, respect them so you don't get stunned. Personally, I don't. Not unless I'm on a certain killer or certain plan. But in general, I tend to not respect them because I just want them dropped. And if you respect them, you step back a bit. They see you respect them, and they keep going for another loop or two. And it just takes longer. So you might as well just take the stun and then destroy the pallet, and then either continue chasing off to someone else or move on to a generator defense or something like that. But there's nothing really much to say here. These pallets are strong. Get them dropped. Get them out of the way as soon as possible if you see the chance. Alright, let's move on to Shack. Right, and finally I want to talk about Shack. Shack is kind of unique. It's on most maps. I think about like 80% of them. Don't quote me on the statistic. Go look it up yourself. But basically, Shack's kind of unique because it has 2 things going for it. One is a pallet, and the second is a vault. These tend to be pretty survivor-sided, even though it's called a killer shack, ironically. And sometimes you may get a basement around this area here, but you don't really play around this. This is just a place to hook them if you do down them near shack. So nothing to worry about there for looping. Just thought I'd mention it, just so you know it's there. Right, so how this works is basically this here is once again another really good pallet, aka a god pallet, and if you can get it down really quickly, it's really good. And if you're playing as a survivor, you kind of want to make sure you keep this up pretty long, because this tends to be one of the safest palettes in the game, and as it appears on so many maps, and some maps just don't have very good palettes, period. Some can spawn with like 5 pallets and all mediocre at best. This can sometimes be your best pallet in the entire game, so you kind of want to save it until you really, really, really need it. So like you're on 2 hooks, and you are already injured. This is a good one to drop and then leg it, because they have to break it. There's nothing they can do. There's no, like, if the killer. I just realized I made these the same color. Whatever, doesn't matter. So if the killer comes here and on the inside, if you drop this, there's no way they could just go out and leave unless they want to spend time vaulting, which no killer really wants to do unless they're like a T3 Michael, or got like Bamboozle plus Awakened Awareness procs and Fire Up, but then they're not really playing the strongest build anyway. Regardless, off track there. If you drop this one on the inside, they have to break it, which can be good. If you drop it from the inside and go, if it's Survivor, I'm going to change the color of this so I don't bloody screw myself over. Right, so yeah, there we go. Alright, so if you're being chased and you go through here and then you drop it, you have 2 options. So pretend this is dropped. You have an option to jump out here. The problem with this, if you're a survivor, is that when you drop this, if they break it, they can then just follow you this way instead. So if you drop it from the inside, the best way to play this is actually to just go out the back door again and probably run off to a different loop. I like how this started off as a killer video, and now I'm talking about how survivors should play this. I keep track. As a killer, as I said before, you kind of just want them to get it, to drop this as quick as possible. They will play this for a very long time because of the vault. They'll tend to. So if you chase them around this way, they'll tend to go like this over the vault. And if you chase them, one too many. If you chase them around this way, they could do this. They could do this. They could drop the pallet. If you chase them this way, once again, pallet. Vault isn't as good because it can be kind of difficult to get a fast vault. So this one tends to be the strongest. So chasing them this way can force the pallet the most, but still not guaranteed. It's kind of one of the hardest ones to force, and some people just will refuse to drop it no matter what. Especially in the early game, so keep that in mind as well. You'll probably be on this for a while. This is not a bad one too, but with the direction coming in, it's a little bit easier to get that fast vault. Still not that easy, but it does help. So my suggestion would be chase this way, try and force this pallet to drop. If they keep vaulting, try not to lose chase too much, otherwise they can vault without it counting towards the cap, I'm pretty sure. So basically, if a survivor vaults a certain amount of times in a short amount of time during a chase, a window can get blocked off. So if you can get this blocked off and they still chase around here, you're basically guaranteed to get this pallet down or a hit. Both are good. But in that case, you're probably taking quite a while in this chase, so keep that in mind. So yeah, the worst way to chase this is going through this door here. Best way to chase it is go through this way and force some kind of medium to slow vaults in worst case scenarios. Once things get a bit more advanced, they'll start doing fakes. You can start doing backtracking, like come to this window and then suddenly go back around here and hope they vaulted already. And then you can also moonwalk here as well, which is not as efficient because there is windows here which they can see through if they're paying attention. So it's not better. Personally, if you're going to play around this part here, my suggestion would be walk here, show red light, turn around, hold for a second, then go through. That's a lot better. That's kind of an advanced tip. I know I said beginner, but whatever. We'll get some advanced stuff later. If you really, really want to get into it, this can still help. If you want to get to that advanced stuff as well, I don't know what the hell I'm doing there. I'm just using my ADHD brain to draw at this point. So yeah, basically this is like one of the streaks, but it's even really stronger because it's basically 2 loops in one. Theoretically, I'll put that in quotation marks. So yeah, try and get this pallet down, but sometimes it'll just refuse to drop it. And yeah, just try and loop it the short way like this. Don't try not to. They'll try and force you to go this way, uh, sometimes, or like force you to go this way. Like I said, there's ways you can like backtrack or force the direction of the loop. But honestly, this is so survivor sided. Sometimes they can force a direction against you. So if you come from this way, and they don't want to go this way, they might just go around this way, and force, maybe even force a hit, take it, go this way, and then you're over here, they're all the way over there with their damage boosted speed, and you either have to vault or go all the way around, or even go around this way, and it can create quite a lot of distance regardless. So this is very survivor sided, and you just kind of got to get the pallet out of the way and hope you can mind game around the vault a little bit. That's basically it with Killer Shack. Called Killer Shack, very much survivor sided. Sucks, but it's what it is. So yeah, that kind of goes around the basics I wanted to go around. I think I went on a bit longer than I wanted, but yeah, focus on chasing the loop, right? Think about the loop, think about what the survivor's going to do. You need to be that one step ahead of survivor. If you really get into it, each survivor plays slightly different. Some love their mind games, their fake-ins, that sort of thing. So, you know, if you see them do a fake, you can kind of assume that they may do it again, but they may fake the fake. It's this whole layer of thinking, and sometimes it's just a 50-50. You get it wrong, oh well. It is what it is. So yeah. There's lots of different ways to play, but especially if we go all the way back to the first one. Back to the first one. Yeah, so if we go back to this one is kind of just easy to kind of display how chasing the loop works. As I've said before at the beginning, you know, you don't want to be just trying to get up to the bum as fast as possible. You kind of need to think about what they're going to do and what's in front of you. That's one thing I didn't mention earlier that I should have. Think about what's in front. Even think about what it's leading into. It goes quite into detail, but yeah. Chase the loop, not the survivor. Yeah, don't chase the killer. If you're doing that, you're not playing the game properly. And if you're doing that as a killer, you're just a dog chasing your tail, so don't do that. Alright, I think that's everything I wanted to go over. I can repeat the same phrase over and over again, but yeah. Thank you for watching. I hope this helps out a bit, and I plan to do more about it, more about simple and more advanced stuff. I'm not sure if this counts as simple or advanced, but it's just a tip to give out, if you ask me. Yeah, so thanks for watching. If you enjoyed it, share, like, subscribe, that sort of shit. And there will definitely be more in the future.